During the summer of 2012, I traveled to Europe with my father. We decided to write a book together about our experience called Jamie's Journey Travels with My Dad. We wanted to document our days together, giving advice to other teenagers and parents looking to do a trip like ours. 2 weeks before our big trip, my dad called me and said, "Hey Jamie, I was thinking, what if instead of going home from Italy, we make one last stop in Israel?" I was hesitant at first, not because I was scared of going to Israel, but because I wasn't sure if I would be able to survive another week with my dad. After 3 weeks, our journey was almost over and our last stop was the Holy Land. Wow, that was probably the most used word of our trip in Israel. It's so hard to explain the beauty of Israel and the immediate connection I felt towards it. But let's just say that every time I think back on my trip with my dad, or my most recent trip this summer, I still get the chills. On our last night in Israel, my dad and I went to the Western Wall. As we looked upon the wall and the hundreds of people that surrounded it, I saw a large group of kids my age standing in a circle singing and dancing. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved being on a trip with my dad, but I couldn't imagine how amazing it would be to be in Israel with kids my own age. My father went up to one of the kids and asked them what trip they were on, and they said they were from a program called Alexander Mas High School in Israel. My father and I knew exactly what that was because my stepmom Jackie did it when she was my age and talked about her experience all the time. When we got back from our trip, I thought about Alexander Mas a lot. My dad kept asking me if I wanted to do it that following summer, but for some reason I was hesitant. Now, what I didn't tell you earlier was that my dad and I originally took our trip to escape our hectic life at home. This is because my stepmom Jackie was battling cancer. Jackie had cancer for 7 years. She was such a fighter, but it was clear her time was short. I was hesitant about spending 6 weeks away from my family to go live in Israel, but my decision soon became clear. On January 28, 2013, Jackie passed away. I was devastated. People always told me that even though someone may die, they will always be with you and watching over you. Well, I waited for the sign, a sign to show me that Jackie was with me, but I never felt it. That is when I decided to go to Israel. Israel was my final chance to search for Jackie. I believed that traveling to Israel and attending the same program that she did would allow me to feel a connection with her. That is why I did AMHSI, to explore Israel, to learn about Jewish history, and to learn more about myself, and to look for a sign that Jackie was still with me. I cannot express how much AMHSI impacted my life. As cliche as it may sound, Israel gave me a fresh start in life, and my realization of that came on one of our tuyuls. On this tuyul, we awoke at 3:30 a.m. to begin our hike up Masada. The sky was pitch black, and the only light that could be found came from our teacher Yossi's flashlight. My friend Sam from Minnesota hiked in front of me, while my friend Lauren from Maryland walked behind me. The whole hike up we sang songs, made up our own raps about Masada, and the best part was that no one complained. I'm not sure if that's because we weren't tired or hot, or if it's because we all knew how amazing of an opportunity this was. As we reached the top of Masada, I reached to grab my phone and immediately called my mom and dad. "Dad, you'll never believe where I am right now. I just hiked Masada and we're about to watch the sunrise." He told me how incredible that was and how proud of me he was. He then hung up the phone by saying Jackie would be proud. As my group walked into the remains of the synagogue, we faced out to Jerusalem and prayed. With our arms around one another, we cried of happiness and disbelief. We cried because we were happy with what we had accomplished and because we were moved by the story of Masada and the strength of the Jewish people. After prayer, we toured around Masada, and then Yossi had us enact Israeli soldiers. He would yell commands, and in a matter of seconds, we would be on the ground, crawling with only the strength of our arms. Afterwards, we walked out to the edge of Masada, and Yossi told us how Israeli soldiers must travel 3 days in the desert, and their last task is to hike Masada. Once they are at the top of Masada, they stand where we were standing and yell as loud as they can the words, Am Yisrael Chai, Masada shall not fall again. Once Yossi told the story, we repeated after him 3 times. Am Yisrael Chai, Masada shall not fall again. That was the moment that will be solidified in my memory for the rest of my life. I have never experienced something so empowering as I did screaming those words off Masada and hearing our voices echo over and over again. It was at that moment when I finally felt the presence I had been looking for, Jackie's presence. I could envision her standing here where I was, screaming these words off of Masada and feeling as empowered as I had felt. She and I had hiked Masada, we had learned its history, we had enacted Israeli soldiers, and we had screamed, Am Yisrael Chai. Though Jackie and I experienced Masada 35 years apart, it felt as if we were doing it together. That was a very memorable tool, but I must say that every day in Israel was a memorable one. I made friends that I will keep for a lifetime. I learned independence. I learned Jewish history, and most importantly, I learned about myself. From this experience, I became proud to be Jewish. I am proud of my religion and the person I am becoming. I believe that everything happens for a reason. If it wasn't for Jackie and her passing when she did, I probably wouldn't be writing about my experience in Israel today. I'm a new person because of this program, and I have my dad, AMHSI, and the Jewish National Fund to thank for that. Thank you.